Hi, I'm Plevin from Needs Focused Teaching, and in this very quick video I'm going to be showing you some classroom management strategies for de-escalation. So these are three strategies in particular that you might use in response to those times when you're face to face with a student and there's a disagreement between you and it's rapidly becoming an argument and the confrontation is escalating and it's getting out of control. At these times we need methods to take the heat out of the situation, to bring those tempers down so that we can move on. Otherwise it can just become a situation that's out of control, and that's when things go badly wrong. So the first one here is to create a diversion of some kind, to redirect their attention, to redirect their behaviour. I'll tell you how I came about this. Years ago I was working over in the northeast of England, and I was working with a group of teenage boys about 15 years old in a behaviour centre, and on this particular day I'd arranged to take them to a public park to have a game of football, have a kick around with my teaching assistant. And so we were there playing football with them, and then out of the blue one of them attacked another one, and this was par for the course. This happened all the time, but this was in a public place, and so he was taken off the pitch and taken to the sideline with me, and I was standing next to him, and he just couldn't let this go. He was getting more and more wound up as this other boy was continuing to play football. He felt that he'd been dealt a severe injustice, that he was off the pitch, and so he got more and more wound up and aggressive. The language was disgraceful, there were people passing by, and I knew I had to quieten this down as soon as possible. So I tried all the usual things. I tried the warnings, I tried the threats, I tried the consequences, I tried being very supportive and cajoling, and nothing worked. So this was just getting worse and worse and worse, to the point where I thought I was going to have to physically restrain him and stop him from going onto the pitch, because he was just screaming and shouting and hurling abuse, detailing exactly what he was going to do to this other boy if he ever got his hands on him. And at that point, in among all this frenzied madness, I looked down and I noticed he had this pair of bright green fluorescent socks on, which were completely out of keeping with the rest of his uniform. And all I said was, "Andy, what colour are your socks?" And that was enough to interrupt his thought patterns. It was enough to take him out of this state of hysteria. It radically changed his mental state in that moment. And straight away, we could move on. In fact, we actually fell about laughing because it was so ridiculous. And from there, we could have a conversation and we could move on. So a redirection or a diversion can be anything. It can be a change in activity. It could be, it's really good to have a game up your sleeve or a change of activity up your sleeve, and you could just say, look, let's have a go with this instead. Or you could remind them of something positive that they've done in the past. Maybe yesterday you watched them playing football, or they've done really well in a maths lesson or whatever, and you can just say, listen, do you remember yesterday? You were doing so well there. Think back to then. And it might just be enough to make them think, oh yeah, there's other ways of doing this. Anything that can take their attention away from being stuck in that cycling pattern. The next thing we can do is offer some support, because when you offer support, you cannot ever be considered to be aggressive or confrontational in any way. And the kind of script, the kind of things you want to be saying are just simply a broken record. Just, you tell me how I can help you. You tell me how I can help you. Tell me what to do that will change this and make it better. Tell me how I can help you, I'll listen. You talk, I'll listen. And we're just repeating that and repeating that until eventually it's surprising how that can often wind students down and bring them round. And the final one here is for you to back down. This is something that students rarely experience. When they're having an argument with a teacher and they feel that they've been misunderstood or wronged in some way, for the teacher to then say, do you know what, you might be right, you've given me something to think about there, I'm sorry, please accept my apology and let's see if we can move on. Now that is something that can be quite shocking for a student to hear, certainly shocking enough to take them out of this negative spiralling state. So there you go, 3 quick strategies to deal with students when they're in that hyped up state of emotion to de-escalate these difficult situations. Hope that helped.